Have you ever felt like life was one big wrestling match? You're in the ring, struggling to keep your balance, trying to stay on top, but it feels like every move you make, there's something pulling you down, holding you back. What if I told you that's not a bad thing? That's exactly what we're gonna talk about today. We're going deep into the story of Jacob wrestling an angel, and I want to share with you how this story has helped me through some of my toughest times. Stick around because this story might change the way you see your struggles, alright? So let's dive right in. Let's start at the beginning. Jacob was a man on the run. And I don't mean like he was Usain Bolt or something. He was running for his life. He'd tricked his brother Esau out of some birthright stuff. And now Esau was coming back with like 400 tough guys, ready to rumble. So Jacob was all, oh, snap, and he took off. And on his way out of town, he stopped by this Jabbok river too. You know, freshen up, wash his face, take a little chill pill. But that's when things got weird. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw this dude coming, and Jacob, being the sneaky guy that he was, took one look at this stranger and thought, this guy looks like trouble. So naturally, Jacob did what he did best, he ran. Now, you'd think this guy would be fast, right? I mean, he's called Israel, which means he who wrestles, but this man was faster. He caught up to Jacob and basically said, "Hold it right there," and then Jacob was all, "Oh, I'm surrounded." And the man was like, "No, man, you're not getting away this time." And then they started wrestling. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, hold up. Can angels wrestle? I thought they just like floated around and waved their magic wands. Well, here's the thing. The Bible doesn't say this was an angel. All it says is that it was a man. And to be honest, that's kind of the whole point. This isn't just a wrestling match. It's a spiritual showdown. And Jacob, well, he's not fighting any ordinary dude. He's taking on someone bigger than him. And this goes on all night long. They lock up. They try to pin each other. They just go at it. And neither one of them gives up. And then finally, as the sun starts to come up, the man reaches over. He touches Jacob's leg and pops his hip right out of joint. And Jacob's like, "Dude, that hurts." And the man's all, "Yeah, you wanna know why?" And Jacob's like, "Why what?" And the man says, "Because you won't let me bless you." Now, Jacob's probably thinking, "Bless me? What does he mean, bless me?" And the man repeats, "You won't let me bless you." And that's when things get real. See, up until this point, Jacob's been running his whole life. He's cheated his brother. He's fooled his dad. He's run away from his problems. But now he's stuck. And he realizes this is his moment. And I love what he says next. He says, "I will not let you go until you bless me." Talk about standing your ground, right? Jacob finally gets real, and he lets go of his pride, his fears, his need to control everything. He lets go, and he just holds on to this idea of a blessing. And the man asks him, "What's your name?" And Jacob says, "It's Jacob." That's the Hebrew word for heel. And it's interesting that he says that because earlier in the story, when Jacob was born, the Bible says that he came out grasping his brother's heel. He was a fighter from the start, but the man says, "No more. Your name is Israel," which means he who wrestles with God. And right there, Jacob was transformed. He went from being a tricksy, manipulative guy who ran from his problems into someone who faced his fears, who wrestled with what was holding him back, and who came out of it stronger, even if he was a little limpy. So why did Jacob wrestle an angel? Well, for starters, he needed to let go of his old life, his old name, his old ways of dealing with things. He couldn't keep running, couldn't keep hiding. He had to face the music, and secondly, he needed to find a new identity, something stronger, something truer. And in the wrestling, in the struggle, he found that. The blessing he was seeking wasn't just some magical gift from a higher power. It was a journey, a transformation, a chance to become better. In fact, This story reminds me of something I've learned over the years. Breakthrough doesn't always come easy. Sometimes it comes through struggle. See, Jacob had to wrestle all night. He had to push through the pain, the exhaustion, the doubts that were holding him back. And in the end, that's when he found the answer he was looking for. But there's more. Jacob's limp, well, that became a part of him forever. It was a constant reminder of his struggle, of his victory, of who he had become. And that's kind of powerful, right? Through his pain, he gained wisdom, strength, a new perspective. And that's what makes this story so amazing. It's not just about a guy who had a crazy dream. It's about the power of facing your fears, the importance of finding your identity, and the strength that comes through struggle. Think about it. How many times in your life have you felt like Jacob? You're running, you're trying to hide, you're trying to control everything. And then something happens that forces you to stop, to face what you've been avoiding. That's your wrestling moment, the point where you realize you can't keep running, you can't keep hiding, you have to face what's holding you back. And when you do that, when you wrestle with your fears, your doubts, your past, you discover something inside of you that's stronger, more resilient than you ever imagined. You find your true identity, your true self, and that's the blessing you've been seeking. It's the answer you've been praying for. It's the strength you need to keep moving forward. This story of Jacob wrestling an angel feels like a roadmap for anyone who's feeling lost, confused, or stuck. It's a reminder that you're not alone in your struggles. And when you feel like giving up, when you feel like you can't go on, remember Jacob and his limp. Remember that pain can lead to wisdom, that struggle can lead to strength, and that breakthrough often comes through the quietest, most unexpected places. We all wrestle with something, whether it's fear, grief, loneliness, guilt, regret, shame, worrying, anger, confusion, or despair. If you're going through something right now, if you feel like you're in the middle of a wrestling match with your problems, don't give up. Keep holding on to hope. Keep searching for the light. Keep believing that you can make it through. Because when you do, you'll find a strength, a wisdom, a blessing that you never knew you had. And that's the story of Jacob wrestling an angel. And that's all for today. Until next time, stay strong, stay hopeful, and never stop wrestling for your dreams.